Latest update. The suspect in the Washington, D.C. National Guard shooting has been identified as a 29-year-old Afghan man. Officials confirmed the suspect is Ramana Lokanwar, who allegedly shot 2 National Guard members in Washington, D.C. Reports indicate he entered the U.S. through Operation Allies Welcome, a program launched during the 2021 U.S. withdrawal to resettle tens of thousands of Afghans. The program provided refuge to evacuees through special immigrant visas and humanitarian deferred action status. The Lokanwal case has raised concerns among lawmakers and analysts, likely sparking calls for a comprehensive review of all SIVs issued during the withdrawal. This terrorist attack must be taken seriously. 2 American servicemen were killed on U.S. soil. Their families were waiting for them to come home for Thanksgiving. It's truly heartbreaking. The incident has also ignited a national debate on vetting mechanisms, refugee admission policies, and long-term oversight of Afghan allies resettled in the United States.
As President of the United States, I am determined to ensure that the animal who perpetrated this atrocity pays the steepest possible price. I can report tonight that based on the best available information, the Department of Homeland Security is confident that the suspect in custody is a foreigner who entered our country from Afghanistan, a hellhole on earth. This attack underscores the single greatest national security threat facing our nation. The last administration let in 20 million unknown and unvetted foreigners from all over the world, from places that you don't want to even know about. No country can tolerate such a risk to our very survival. An example is Minnesota, where hundreds of thousands of Somalians are ripping off our country and ripping apart that once great state. Billions of dollars are lost, and gangs of Somalians come from a country that doesn't even have a government, no laws, no water, no military, no nothing. As their representatives in our country preach to us about our Constitution and how our country is no good. We're not going to put up with these kind of assaults on law and order by people who shouldn't even be in our country. We must now re-examine every single alien who has entered our country from Afghanistan under Biden, and we must take all necessary measures to ensure the removal of any alien from any country who does not belong here or add benefit to our country. If they can't love our country, we don't want them.
At last check, they are still in the hospital with critical injuries. Now we're learning new details about the suspect.
Let's start moving!
2 National Guard members were standing by a busy metro station this afternoon when police say the gunman rounded a corner, raised his arm with the weapon, and opened fire.
This is a targeted shooting. One individual who appeared to target these guardsmen.
The alleged shooter was subdued by other Guard members nearby, taken to the hospital in critical condition. That suspect, now identified as 29-year-old Ramanullah Lakenwal, according to multiple law enforcement sources familiar with the investigation. Those sources also saying he's believed to be from Afghanistan and came to the United States in 2021 under the Biden administration. He applied for asylum in 2024 and was granted asylum in April of 2025 under the Trump administration, according to 3 law enforcement sources. Tonight, President Trump is blaming his predecessor for allowing the suspect into the country and calling for a re-examination of all Afghan immigrants admitted under the Biden administration.
The last administration let in 20 million unknown and unvetted foreigners from all over the world, from places that you don't want to even know about. No country can tolerate such a risk to our very survival.
Several sources tell ABC News the FBI is trying to determine if this was a potential act of international terrorism. The Guard members were from West Virginia, part of a 2,000-person patrol working the nation's capital at the direction of President Trump.
And tonight, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth now says President Trump has asked him to send another 500 National Guardsmen into D.C. as this shooting remains under investigation.
2 of our brave members of the National Guard and the Department of War were brazenly attacked in a horrendous act of violence. They were shot. They're in critical condition.
At approximately 2:15 this afternoon, members of the D.C. National Guard were on high visibility patrols in the area of 17th and I Street Northwest when a suspect came around the corner, raised his arm with a firearm and discharged it at the National Guard members. The National Guard members, there were other members that were in the area. They were able to, after some back and forth, able to subdue the individual and bring him into custody.
I've had the opportunity to brief U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi, who was speaking to the president when I called, as well as the United States Attorney Pirro, who assured me that this case will have her office's complete attention.
I was in the Uber. I heard right in front of 17th Street, and I heard boom, boom 2 times. And then the Uber driver said, "Why are all these people running?" So then I look out the window, and it's little children, adults running, children on both sides of the street, running in the opposite direction. The supervision is saying to the children, "Go, go, run." And then I heard help, help in the direction of the shooting.
Well, I was headed to get lunch. As soon as I got up 17th I Street, we heard like rapid gunshots. So myself and other people started to run back down I Street. That's when we saw 2 National Guards on the ground, and one they were trying to resuscitate. It was still even a couple of minutes before there was any response. Like, they didn't have anything closed off, and it was kind of surreal, to be honest with you. And it took us a couple of minutes to realize how serious the situation was. I mean, I feel terrible for the National Guardmen. I mean, they were ordered to be here. They didn't ask for anything like this, and I'm sure a lot of them would rather not be here. It's going to bring a narrative, and I am a little bit concerned that, this city is going to have much more of a military presence and much more of a police presence.
Now, earlier today, the Joint Task Force D.C., which oversees the National Guard, told us that this incident occurred near the Farragut West Metro Station, which is just about a block over my right shoulder that way in downtown D.C. Just in the moments after the shooting, according to Jeff Carroll, the 2 other members of the National Guard subdued the suspect. We were told by law enforcement sources that he was carried away on a stretcher from the scene. His condition is not known. I yelled a question at the chief and at Kash Patel as they left, saying, "Is there anything you can tell us about a possible motive for this shooting?" They did not answer that question as they walked away.